I think weekends like this are important for people who are successful because when you start reaching certain levels of success or start maneuvering your life in a certain direction, it can get very lonely. And so weekends like this allow you to get around other people who may have the same issues, the same concerns, the same questions, and you're able to talk about those concerns freely with other people who will understand. And I think one of the biggest pieces about it is the understanding. Because, if you go to certain people with problems, they're gonna think of look at you like, why are you complaining about that? Everything's good. But in reality, whether you think it's a problem or not, it's still a problem for the person dealing with it. So it's really cool to be able, because now people can feel free. They don't feel like they're gonna be judged. They can be themselves and actually have open conversations and open dialogues about the things that are concerning them, and know that they're gonna get quality answers that they can go back and mold, chew on and figure out and move forward to. But also they can build relationships that in the future, if they run into other issues, now they have a network of people that they can utilize to get through the issues faster. This retreat has shifted my thought process on identity and success, because one, I never really had anybody ask me about identity. That was the first time that question stumped me this weekend. And it started making me think in a different direction, even just pondering what is identity? I've never thought about it before. I just kind of just went through life doing stuff, and I am, right? But now I think that gives a little bit more purpose to figuring those things out, which once again kind of feeds back into these types of weekends, because if you're not in an environment where people typically care about those kinds of things like identity and how do you define success, it makes it very difficult for you to think about those things if you don't have the answer, because that's something that after I reading it this weekend and talking about it, I'm like, wow, this is really important. I should know what my identity. But you kind of just go through the motions of life. But now it's making me think wow, what do I care about? What are my non-negotiables? And it's making me kind of mold myself more into, or understand who I am more, which in turn I feel like is going to help me help others. I didn't really know what to expect showing up this weekend because it's my first retreat. And from the moment I touched down, I've been, deep in conversation with people, and it wasn't forced. It just happened naturally. And me, I'm not always a very open person if I don't know people, but I just been spilling out all weekend because I could tell that people truly care, and they really are giving me some game that I can take back home and realize. But some of the things, from family to how you grew up, working through certain traumas, talking about experiences in the military, talking about, one of the things for me is I don't have a family yet. And so being able to pick everyone's brain about what it's like to start a family. How do you know if you're being a good husband? What are some things you should do to raise children? All of these things that otherwise I would just have to figure out until, or ponder on until one day I just end up with a family and wow, what do I do now? So I'm able to kind of prep the battlefield for myself by having these conversations. We went through the goods and the bads when it comes to family. So that's really, I think that's one of the most beneficial conversations that I've had with multiple people, is that family piece, because I do want a family one day, but I don't know what to do. But now I have some direction now, which gives me a little bit more peace of mind, knowing that all right, maybe it's not going to be as bad as I think it is. I just have to focus on certain things, and when it happens, you can't prepare for everything. That's another thing I've learned. You can't prepare for everything. Sometimes you just gotta know that you've done the internal work and done the things that are necessary to be the best man and best husband, the best father I can be when that day comes. And everything else, when you run into those situations, you fall back on groups like this.